It is the RIOT podcast for Friday, March 31st, the last podcast of the month and of the week.
Boom.
Yeah. I got a question for you. What would you do if I sneezed right now?
It would be odd for the show, but I would just let it roll.
We'd probably cut and start over.
Right now? Maybe we would, yeah.
Yeah, we'd just chuck this one and start over. But would you say bless you?
No.
You don't bless?
I don't bless.
You're not a blesser?
I'm not a blesser. People have actually been mad at me before because they know that I'm a committed non-blesser.
Non-blesser. And so why is that?
I just have never done it. Nobody in my family does it. My whole entire family, no one says bless you. If someone sneezes in my house, no one will say bless you.
No reaction.
It just wasn't something I grew up with.
Just continues on with your day.
You just continue on. I'm a loud sneezer too.
I didn't ever realize that was how you were, because I was going to say I know some people in my life that are like that.
That's me, yeah.
I've recently realized, and it wasn't you, but it had me thinking, like, it's odd that they don't, but it doesn't. It's also odd to do it. It's a weird thing to do, to bless people when you sneeze. It doesn't mean anything.
You know why that is, right?
What, like why it started?
Uh-huh.
Is it like that thing where people used to think it was like ghosts coming out of you or something? Spirits?
No, so the reason that people say bless you, I recently learned this. Let me Google it first to make sure I portray it correctly.
Okay. See, I thought it was the spirit thing. I thought back in the olden days when people were like more superstitious.
No, I like the reason that they say bless you. Let me make sure I have it here. Why do people say bless you when you sneeze? I believe it's something about how when you sneeze, like your heart stops. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so then you die for a second, and then you continue on.
I don't know if that's true.
It is. It's the truth. The first thing popped up, does your heart stop when you sneeze?
Does it?
No, your heart does not stop when you sneeze. It was the most bit of conspiracy thing. Yeah. I don't know. But that's what they say. They say, why do we say bless you after a sneeze? And everyone, it's supposed to be like the ghost thing, or like because your heart stops when you sneeze, you die for a second, you come back to life, whatever.
It's just crazy that was something that clearly was started probably in like the Middle Ages or something. You know, when they thought everything revolved around the earth and stuff like that, they didn't even know what the sun was, and we still keep doing it, even though it doesn't make any sense. So I admire you for committing, even though I guess it wasn't necessarily consciously, to not blessing people. But since I grew up blessing people, I feel the pressure.
Look at you little blesser.
I know. I just can't stand up to it. I don't have the fortitude to just have somebody sneeze around me and not bless them.
What's wild too is I expect to bless you if I sneeze.
You expect it, but you will not hand it out. I
expect it, but I won't give it out. If I'm like yesterday, I was walking into the gym. I sneezed, and there was someone sitting in their car with their window down, and I kind of peered at him, you know? Like, you gonna go ahead and bless me or what? Like you're just gonna let that go?
Well, that's the other thing I was wondering is, do you think you have to have a relationship with, like,
no,
you don't bless?
I expect it from strangers.
You expect it from strangers.
There's been times where I've been walking. For whatever reason, when I walk out of the gym, I sneeze all the time because the sun makes me sneeze, right? That brightness.
Yeah, same
and
here.
so I walk out of the gym, I sneeze all the time. Like all the time I sneeze when I'm walking out of the gym. And there's always people coming in and out of the gym. And I've had some people say bless you. I've had a lot of people not say bless you.
No, I'm a blesser, but I wouldn't bless a stranger.
See, I don't bless nobody. Nobody I'm blessing, but I do expect it from everyone. Seems kind of greedy.
It does. You take, but you don't give.
I do.
It says so much about you.
I expect it to.
It says so much about you.
I'm like, really? No bless you from anybody? You guys aren't blessers? I mean, I'm not, but I expected somebody here to be.
Yeah. I think I'm going to start walking in your footsteps and stop blessing.
And then you just look at them when you don't do it too.
I'm just afraid.
Like, yeah, I heard you sneeze.
I'm afraid I'm going to get some blowback.
I'm not going to say it though.
I don't want to have to explain the spirit thing and how it's dumb.
I have received blowback
to people.
I've received blowback, and my whole family has been targeted because of this. People have said, as a family, we don't bless. There have been visitors who've come to my house and sneezed.
Yeah.
And they've talked about
in your own home.
In my own home. You
I'm
came
a guest
to my
in
house,
your home. Yeah.
And you sneezed in my house, and you expect me to say bless you.
Your house, your rules.
And under my parents' roof, no bless yous. Nobody says it.
Well, you won't get any blowback from me.
Perfect.
It's just something I noticed, and now I'm jealous of you for having.
That's how I do it. So when I'm walking around the office, somebody sneezes. I'm not giving it to Nene, Nikki, you. I give everybody the same treatment. Strangers, same treatment.
No discrimination, at least.
Exactly. I treat everybody the same.
Well, we didn't tell you anything about what's coming up in the podcast today, but it's a good one.
That's how we like it.
For sure.
A big old surprise.
It's a big old mystery.
This is a good little Friday action for you.
That's right. It's going to be a good one. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll be back with you on Monday.
See you guys.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, RadioU.
Don't want to alarm anybody, but I got a great headline here. Airplanes face a growing risk of being hit by uncontrolled incoming rockets.
Rockets?
Yeah, you love to hear that.
Like a rocket?
Love to hear it. You could be on your trip to Portland, just flying through the sky, and all of a sudden, an errant rocket falls out of the sky, and boom, you're done for. That's something nice to think about. A nice downer to start the day. But it is something we should be aware of. It is true. We're talking actual rockets could be falling from the sky, hitting your airplane.
I don't even know what that means.
Well, what goes up must come down, right?
I guess so.
And so we've had a lot more rocket launches going on in the past several years. Obviously, the high profile like SpaceX stuff, Jeffrey Bezos's Blue Origin, all that. Now, those are very controlled. They're kind of few and far between. And sometimes rocket launches are meant to. It's something that's launched up and doesn't come back down, right? It goes into orbit. But what we also have is particularly in China, they will launch rockets. They have rockets that they launch up that will be in the sky for some period of time, and then they fall back down. And if it's and it's not always so predictable where they're going to land. And as more and more rocket launches are happening, more and more rockets are falling out of the sky as well, which that in itself isn't the issue. It's the problem that they don't always know where they're going to land. And so they don't always know the authorities, the FAA, as far as the United States is concerned, the Federal Aviation Administration, doesn't always know where they need to close airspace and when, because they don't have good information on what's going on with these things. So, end of story. Your plane could be hit by a rocket.
Well, then why don't they figure it out?
That's a great question.
You'd think that if we're going to send something up there, we're going to know where the things are going to go.
See, we're not sending it up is probably is a big issue.
Who is this they we speak of then?
Again, mostly the Chinese.
Well, then
the country of China
need to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd hate to have to make a proclamation live on air about China, but I think they need to figure out this whole rocket debris thing.
Yeah.
Because if my plane gets hit by some of their rocket debris, I'll tell you this much, I'm not going to be very happy.
I think you're going to be thoroughly upset.
I'm going to be thoroughly upset.
And they'll be, they're going to have to pay for what they've done if they knock your plane out.
I mean, you want to talk about suing people?
Yeah.
I'm suing the whole country.
Yes.
Suing everybody.
I can understand why. Now, sometimes it's a difficult balancing act because oftentimes it is a situation where whatever the airplane authorities, they know that there's a potential for a rocket for debris to fall in a certain area that could affect certain airspace. For example, November 4th, 2022, Spain and France each closed parts of their airspace due to a Chinese rocket that was expected to re-enter the atmosphere in an uncontrolled fashion. That, though, did wind up disrupting, at least in Spain, over 300 flights. So you're causing people a big inconvenience because it's similar to the weather. It's just it's not always so known. You can't schedule flights around it. And so, again, massive inconvenience. And if you're going to start telling people, what are you supposed to, you're going to lie to people? Or are you going to tell them the truth? Your flight is delayed because it could be hit by a falling rocket. They're not going to believe you. But if they do, that's
true.
really frightening sounding.
It is very frightening sounding. And if you're in the air, it has to be such a low accuracy of it actually hitting you, right?
I mean, it's a big sky.
It's a huge sky.
Uh-huh.
Small debris.
Right.
Plane, decent sized. But like the actual probability has to be so low.
It's very low. In fact, and at this time, there's still not been a confirmed instance of a flight colliding or being damaged by falling rocket debris. But
knock on wood.
Yeah, that's right. It's just something that's becoming more and more possible with all these different, with so many uncontrolled is the issue. Uncontrolled instances of things re-entering the atmosphere. We got to be careful. Just wanted to give you one more thing to worry about.
Perfect for the next flight I take.
Yeah. And
another thing while I'm on the plane that can freak me out.
Every flight going forward for the rest of your life, because it's just going to become more and more likely.
Yep.
Your For You page would be a lot more fun if it had Hudson, Nikki, and Isaiah. Follow at RadioU Official on TikTok. The Riot. Radio U.
I hate to break this to you, but you know the Jurassic Park movies? Jurassic World, all that?
Yes, I'm familiar.
Unrealistic. It's not what it's actually like.
Makes sense.
That could never happen in real life.
Doesn't really surprise me all that much.
And if it did, it wouldn't look like that. Check this out. According to some new research, I'm seeing here that researchers claim that T-Rexes had lips. They're claiming dinosaurs, like if you the typical way you picture a T-Rex, because it's how Jurassic Park showed us, the teeth are just out there for the world to see. It makes them look much scarier.
Like out of the mouth, you're saying?
Yeah, because they stick out. They're so large.
Yeah.
And there's no lips to cover them up. But now researchers are saying that these big, giant, scary animals with the massive teeth, the teeth are actually covered by, lips, just like you and I would have.
That's wild. I mean, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking stuff there.
I'm glad that they figured that out. But it also, this is just one more thing that makes me question dinosaurs in general. We're just figuring this out now.
Well, I feel like it makes sense because I feel like the only thing we really know about dinosaurs is about their bones. Because we never really saw their skin. Same thing as we don't know what color a T-Rex was either.
Then why are we making stuff up about it?
Well, because we have to draw a picture of it.
We don't. Yeah, but we can just say we don't know.
Well, we did. Well, that's what we say. We say we don't really know.
I just don't understand. Here's why I have an issue with the dinosaurs. Why I just have to question is because dinosaurs supposedly happened millions of years ago, right?
Mm-hmm. I think it was 70 trillion or something.
I think it just keeps. It's always changing. It's always a large number, but it was at least 1 million years ago. They say dinosaurs roamed the earth. So we've had 1 million years to figure it out. And we're still going, well, actually, we just figured out they had lips. We can't make up our minds because it's just a bunch of people just making stuff up. Some say feathers. Some say no feathers. Some say lips. Some say no lips. We don't know anything. We don't know anything.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, it was so long ago that I also this is now the period where we're figuring things out.
Yeah.
Back in the 1800s, those people knew nothing.
Did they even know about dinosaurs?
They didn't know anything.
And how did that change their lives?
If they knew, it wouldn't really change them.
Exactly. So what's even the point?
Well, we'd like to know about history. You don't think history is important?
Don't you think that not this history, it's not helping us?
I think all history is important because you can learn from it.
What can we learn from dinosaurs having lips?
From having lips?
Yeah, teach me a lesson.
Well, I wouldn't say having lips, dinosaurs, but I think we can always learn lessons from dinosaurs, obviously.
You think the researchers that discovered this put it in their dating profile?
It says, I figured out the dinosaurs have lips. I would hope not.
It's probably their biggest career accomplishment.
It is.
To this point.
It probably is.
So you'd think they have to, right?
Maybe, I guess.
If they're single.
That'd be a good line.
Would anybody even believe you?
Nope.
Last thing on this, and this is the good news, is that it does open up the door for dinosaur romance movies.
Oh, because they have lips now.
Now they can kiss. Mm-hmm.
I guess the animated versions, it makes sense.
It's nice to imagine that if dinosaurs were real, at least they were able to kiss, because it would be sad if they weren't able to. How else would they show their love?
Probably licking, like a dog.
The The Riot with Hudson and Nikki on Radio U.
It was opening day in Major League Baseball. Isaiah, did you get to watch any baseball action?
I did not. I did not catch any.
Oh, you didn't see a second of baseball.
My Guardians played really late.
Yeah.
And that would be the only team that I would watch. I'm not just going to tune in for just random baseball. I'm not that kind of fan.
Yeah.
But I would have watched the Gardos had they been on at a time that was reasonable for me. They were on a little bit late.
Yeah. It's a catch-22 for me on opening day because it feels like real opening day has baseball games starting in the afternoon, but then again, it also feels like there should be baseball games going on the entire day. Like if you just wanted to watch baseball, if you wanted to take the day off from work, you should be able to sit down at lunchtime or even earlier, like on the West Coast, and just sit down, start watching baseball, and then go to bed, and baseball's still on.
Yes, I agree with that.
That's the catch-22, but then it doesn't feel right to have your opening day game starting when it's dark out. So it's a tough call.
Yeah.
But one of those games that did start after dark last night was at Dodger Stadium. The Los Angeles Dodgers had their season opener, and something that's happened, well, it was on the field, but it wasn't actually baseball related, is really what's grabbing the headlines. Did you see the marriage proposal in the Dodgers game last night?
I seen it now.
You've got to see. For anybody who hasn't, we can send you the link if you'd like at 877-2-RADIO-U. Just let us know. There is a guy who decided to do a marriage proposal on the field. But the problem is he decided to do the marriage proposal, but he didn't get the Dodgers, the team. He didn't get security and management all in on this. So this guy, he's got outfield seats. He rushes out into the middle of the outfield at between innings, gets down on one knee. He's got the ring and everything seems to be going fine. A little, and not that ceremoniously though. You know what I mean? It all kind of
in the yards of like proposing to someone.
Yeah,
pretty crappy job.
It all kind of he's like 30 feet away from the woman.
Yeah,
she probably can't even hear him in a crowded stadium. But
terrible proposal.
It's clear what he's doing, though, because he's down on one knee with a ring. But then, and it's so perfect, the way this one person filmed it, is from out of the frame, you see one security guy rushing in about 20 seconds into him being on the field, 15 seconds in, and just body slams him. I mean, he just
destroys him.
He lights this dude up. That security guard has been waiting all of his life to be able to tackle somebody like that.
Yeah, that was incredible form.
It was amazing.
Like that was a perfect form tackle.
Yeah. Led with the shoulder.
Followed through, put him on the ground. They arrested him immediately.
Yep.
I mean, what a terrible proposal.
It was, yeah.
An all-time bad one. Because you know what happens is you will run away 30 yards away from your girl and you get down on one knee. She sees you like
she can't hear
hot dogging in the middle of the field.
You don't know if she's saying yes or no. You're so far away.
And then you just get trucked and then arrested.
Yeah. And
so like, what's your plan now?
You look like a schmo.
You're going to the police station.
You imagine on your, you do a wedding proposal. You're probably, after that point, you're going to have a nice, fun night. You're going to have a great
dinner.
time. Yeah. Go do something fun together after the
memorable
game.
night.
Yeah. And
instead, you're going to jail.
Yeah. Not well thought out on this guy's behalf. I don't even know. I'm assuming the woman said yes because you usually...
Hope she said no. That'd be kind of wild.
Yeah, that would be just
the icing on the cake.
Literally add insult to injury in this guy's case.
She's like, no.
Yeah.
He's like, you said yes? You said yes?
Yeah, she's just crying there.
Yes.
It is, we do have to address the security guard because clearly unnecessary. This guy was literally down on one knee, the proposer.
Yeah. But I bet that's just how it goes, though.
You think so?
If someone goes on the field... It just doesn't matter.
You can't take your chances. And like I said, I do believe the security guard's been waiting for this moment.
Yeah, he for sure was, because that was quite the hit.
Yeah.
He was having a rough Thursday.
He probably practices, Yeah,
I mean, that's his only job. Is they probably tell you, if someone goes on the field, you do whatever you can to just get them on the ground as quickly as possible and just go ahead and just arrest them.
Absolutely amazing. It is a great video. You definitely should see it. A bad proposal. Now, I do have to tell you, too, talking about baseball, I've got something about early season baseball that I realized today that grinds my gears. And I'm going to tell you what that is next. Drives me up a wall.
Hudson and Isaiah seem like they know a lot about sports, yet somehow it's Nikki that always gets it right. The Riot, Radio U.
Talked about how yesterday, opening day for Major League Baseball, a real exciting day. And so it makes me question. This is what I have to wonder. Isaiah, explain this to me. Opening day is yesterday, all 30 MLB teams in action. And then we turn around today, second day of the season, and more than half the league doesn't have a game.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Well, they just had a game yesterday.
Yeah. In baseball, you play like every day.
Yeah, but
and they've had a whole off
back-to-back
season.
Yeah.
Everybody, it doesn't make any sense to me. You have opening day, packed house, everybody's amped up, excited. Yeah, new season. Our team could do it this year. Grand old time. 15 teams just won their first game of the year. Real exciting stuff. Let's take a day off. We don't want everybody to continue on with the excitement. We don't want to continue the momentum and the energy. Let's take a day off, and we'll run it back on Saturday. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I feel like, it's just like any sport. You can't have a game every day.
It's baseball. That's like the beauty of baseball is that pretty much every day you tune in. They play.
There's games today.
There's a few games today. But for me,
you want, and then what would you say if there were games today?
Yeah,
you'd be like, why aren't there games tomorrow?
There's supposed to be games tomorrow.
What are they gonna play 3 days in a row? They're gonna play 3 days in a row.
That's baseball. They do that often.
They play 3 days in a row, and then Sunday rolls around. Why aren't there games today?
You gotta go.
Like, how many days in a row do you want to have games? 7? You want a week straight of games?
That's not unusual in baseball. I don't expect it in any other sport, but baseball, they play 162 games. They get like 10 days off the entire year. Why is one of them the second day of the year?
Just how the schedule lays out.
They make the schedule. The baseball makes the schedule. Why would they make it this way?
That's just how they make it.
It doesn't make any sense. This is like...
Because you know what they want you to do?
What do they want
They want you to be fiending for it, Hudson.
And
they're not going to give you everything you want.
Leave me wanting more?
Exactly. They don't want to give you it all.
Just a taste.
They don't want to give you the whole apple at once. They're just giving you a slice.
Yeah.
And then today you're like, oh my gosh, my team doesn't play today.
Get me hooked.
You're going to go ahead and then maybe you're so excited you're going to watch a game that you wouldn't normally watch. Like today, you're going to watch the White Sox and the Astros because you're just so fiending for baseball and your team doesn't play. And then when your team plays tomorrow, they already know you're tuning in for that one. And then on Sunday, when you roll around, your team isn't playing, you're still fiending for it like crazy. You're going to go ahead and watch the Diamondbacks, who you would never watch. But since your team doesn't play, you're going to watch them now.
I think that's pretty rose-colored glasses if that's how MLB is thinking about it. I just feel like, baseball, it's waned in popularity. They've got to capitalize on whatever excitement they can find, and on day 2 of the season, they're like, yeah, take the day off. It'd be like if Nikki, she comes back from vacation next Monday, and then took Tuesday off.
Would that be surprising for anyone?
She pretty much did that right after Christmas.
That's what I was thinking.
So, but yeah, no, it doesn't. It just doesn't make any sense. It bothers me. I would love to watch the Red Sox again today. And I know there's 19 other teams out there. Their fans are feeling the same way. Like, yeah, yesterday was either we want to bounce back after the loss on opening day, or we want to keep the streak going, stay undefeated. And you tune in today and you're like, oh, nothing.
Well, the Guardians play tonight.
Unfortunately, they get a nice day.
Boom!
Everyone else gets a nice day of rest.
There you go.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.
I've got a new detrimental dating trend going around, according to the experts from the dating app Hinge.
Good dating app.
I'm not going to ask you. I was going to ask if you're on Hinge, but I thought that's a bit too personal. You don't have to reveal
I might be on there.
You don't have to reveal
But I might not.
You may or may not be on Hinge, and that's up to you to disclose. I'm not going to ask you. But the people at Hinge, some of their experts, have coined a new term for a dating trend that they think is causing issues. They call it fizzling.
Fizzling.
Have you ever been fizzled before?
I can't be sure if I've been fizzled.
Here's what
Sounds kind of fun, though.
No, I assure you it's not.
Oh, okay.
Fizzling is when a date is when somebody you're going out with incrementally puts less and less effort into, the relationship until finally it reaches the point where they stop talking altogether and it's fizzled out.
Oh, I've been fizzled.
You've been fizzled?
I've been twizzled.
Have you ever fizzled?
I don't know if I've
Have you ever
fizzled.
been a fizzler?
I would never admit to fizzling.
You wouldn't?
Nope.
I think this is, although they're calling it a new dating trend, they just given it a name. And I don't even feel like the name is that new. Like who hasn't said, yeah, we were talking, but it just kind of eventually fizzled out. Yeah.
Yep.
This is not.
You're right.
It's not that new, but it is detrimental. And you can see how it can be a problem because what oftentimes will happen is like, the one person that's getting fizzled is still really into things, but the person who's the fizzler just they got other options,
So what's worse, being fizzled or being ghosted?
So ghosted is just cold turkey, no explanation. Fizzled is, in a sense, you're being led on.
Yeah.
What would be worse?
I think it depends a little bit on like the relationship. The farther along it is, the worse a ghosting is. The earlier on it is, I think the worse a fizzle is.
If it's early on, a fizzle is worse.
Yeah, I think it's worse because they're giving you like a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
As if like this actually could be something where like if it's early on, I don't really care. So just ghost me if you don't want to talk to me, right? I don't want to waste my time.
Right.
But then the farther in you go, then like if it like fizzles, then there's more opportunity there for communication, where if you just ghost me, then I could be more hurt by it because at that point, I'm a little bit more invested.
Yeah.
I would rather you fizzle me out. That way I can clearly see that you're just not interested anymore rather than just a ghosting where it's just like, what the heck did I just do wrong?
Yeah.
I think earlier on, the ghosting's fine.
I'd love to disagree with you, but I think you're right. I think ghosting, I think fizzling is a little worse because if one party knows that this is just not going to work out and they're just they don't have it in them to actually do a full breakup, and they're also not a ghoster, which is not ideal. If they keep fizzling, it does give you false hope. That's hurtful. But ghosting when you're far along in a relationship, that's a tough one.
That's tough to rebound from.
But early on, I like the ghosting because at least it's clear. You text them a couple times and they don't get back to you. At least you know where you stand.
Boom.
You don't know why, but at least you know that you don't need to hold out on them.
Yeah, you've been cut off.
But the fizzling just keeps you in limbo.
It does. It just makes you feel like there's maybe something there and they're just not a good texter. What's the deal? You don't really get it. And then at the end of the day, they just don't think you're cute.
Yeah. I'll tell you that I'm glad I'm not dating anymore. I'm glad
you wouldn't make it 10 seconds in this dating pool.
Not now. If my wife leaves me, I am going to be in a tough spot. I really will.
You're done for.
Yeah. I won't even get to the point of getting fizzled. I wouldn't even get that chance. But I'll tell you, the reason I am glad I'm not dating, besides that I'd never make it, is because there's just so many things to navigate. There's just so many, there's so many different ways people can hurt you when you start to like them and start to trust them. And so many different ways people can we keep learning new ways that people cut out on you, sometimes slowly and surely, sometimes cold turkey, but every time it still leaves a little bit of a sting. And I'll let you know at the end of the day that when you start talking to God, he's not going to do that on you. It doesn't matter. Your friends, family, people you've gone out with, they can hurt you. They can leave you, but Jesus never will. And so when you do get hurt, you can always turn to him. If you want to know more about what that's about, check out RadioU.com/free gift and just start talking to God. You can do that from anywhere at any time, and he's not going to ghost you or fizzle you or any of that good stuff.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
I love when this happens. When people text us questions at 8772-RADIO-U. We got one from Rohan. Rohan says, what is some stuff that made you cool as a kid, but now as an adult, it wouldn't make you very cool? Like if you were showing it off, flashing it in elementary school.
Good question.
You said, come to my place. We've got this. at my house. But now, like if you're grown up, even out of elementary school, like if you're 15, it wouldn't be cool. The first one that comes to mind for me, trampoline.
Trampoline makes you cool.
But if I told you, hey, Isaiah, come to my place now, I've got a trampoline, just got a new trampoline.
I mean, I'd jump on it with you, but it would not be cool. I wouldn't tell people about that.
It's not as cool.
That would be just a me and you thing.
Yeah.
We wouldn't tell people. We wouldn't talk about that on the air.
That'd be private, the trampoline.
Yeah. Same thing with a pool, too. You had a pool is still cool. If you have a pool now, that's still a flex.
Uh-huh.
But when you're when you're a kid, though, that was... If you got a pool, that's premier.
The pool
your house is the house.
Now, I think there's a differentiator, too. Now, if I'm an adult and I say, come over, I've got a pool, and it's in ground and nice, that's still pretty cool.
That's cool.
If I tell you, come over to my house, and you came over, it was an above ground pool, like it's one of those ones you just set up every summer.
It's not as cool.
You're not going to be impressed.
No.
But a little child would be.
A little kid would be like, yes, this is awesome.
Yeah. You got any more?
Yeah. What about like when you were a kid? What about like having a cool phone? You know, like a slide phone?
Yeah.
You had like a friend that had like a real cool phone, or the first friend that got an iPhone. Those kids were cool.
Yeah.
Right away. Like, I never had a phone growing up, so anybody who had a cool phone.
That's right.
I thought that was cool. I was jealous of this little slippy, slidey phones. I don't even know what they were called. I didn't have one. I wanted one. That was cool. Yeah. I think childhood, if we're talking like elementary school, then just having gum at school is cool. If you had gum, I was jealous of you. Like, that alone could make you cooler than me when I was a little kid.
I had a friend that always had Orbit. Always. Yep. He had Orbit, or he eventually converted to 5 gum. And he was cool. Like, that was a status symbol right there. Tim had a good one. Tim texted in, I don't know if you remember this, Isaiah. Silly bands.
Yeah.
You remember Silly bands?
I mean, my parents owned toy stores.
I guess you're right. So
I was cool because of that.
You had the collection.
Unlimited. I had unlimited.
Yeah, unlimited Silly bands. Yeah. Now as an adult, if I came in with, look, it's a dolphin. And I can just wear it.
That would be so lame, but it'd be so funny though. Check out my new bracelet. It's actually, if I take it off here, it's a giraffe.
Yeah. I understand why kids thought that was cool.
I don't know if
we thought that was cool.
I don't know if this was cool when you were still like young, but when I was like in middle school, that's when they had like the fight and necklace things and like the balance little bracelet things.
The balance bracelets.
Oh, you never had those? There were these bracelets, these rubber band like bracelet type things you put on your wrist that were like to make you more balanced, more athletic feeling. And obviously they were dumb.
They didn't work, did they?
And they were expensive for no reason. Same thing with these dumb necklaces. But everybody wore them, and if you didn't have one, you might as well just went home.
Yeah.
You were not cool.
Tim clarified, although we brought up the Silly bands, he also said, and this is if you go back a little further in time, I think, like the Live Strong bracelet.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's similar. That's similar to the balance ones. Yes, similar to that.
Eric said I had one of those necklaces because he played baseball.
Yes, all baseball players had them. Yeah, you did. You know what I'm talking about. All the baseball players wore them. I didn't even play baseball, and I wore them just because everybody had them.
Yeah, that was a part.
What about like when your parents bring you back to school at like around lunchtime, and you get to walk in with like McDonald's?
Ooh,
you sit down at the lunchroom table, and you've got like some sort of like Wendy's or McDonald's or something. That made you cool as well.
See, I never got that experience as a child.
Oh, yeah, because you were homeschooled.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, it's
There's probably so many things you could tell me about, like lunch break.
It was a special feeling
that you could experience that I could never have that.
A lot of stuff. If you, especially, or even just the simplicity of if your parents pack you a good lunch. There's a difference between like having a school lunch.
Yeah.
That's like a normal lunch. I always got a pretty normal lunch. But then like maybe one day I get a pudding cup. People are looking, they're like, a snack pack in there. If I have like a good brand of fruit snacks or maybe a certain good kind of chips, that makes you a little bit cooler.
Your lunchroom royalty. What about chocolate milk? I feel like that'd be a status symbol.
Chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk or Lunchables.
Oh, if you had a Lunchable too, especially when you were younger. Elementary school, if you whip out a Lunchable, everyone's jealous. They thought you were cool.
Text it if you've got something that made you cool when you were a kid that now as an adult, maybe not as much. 8772 RadioU.
Hey, they're already eating anyways. Might as well do it on the show. The Riot with Nikki and Hudson. Radio U.
Things that made you seem cool as a kid that as an adult don't make you seem cool. Maybe at least not as much. Some of the good ones we got, silly bands, if you were the right age for those, or just any like bracelet. Really just bracelets. Kids love bracelets.
They do love bracelets.
Yeah.
Like Rainbow Loom, people could make their own bracelets.
Yeah, it's always bracelets.
It's always a bracelet thing.
We need to come up with a new bracelet idea.
They can sell.
Your parents have a toy store. We could partner up, and we could probably take the world by storm.
It's a great idea.
With our new fad bracelets. Jessica texted in. Jessica says having pierced ears.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably a girl.
It's a girl thing,
right?
but yeah.
Yeah, I think any piercing, like as you grew up, piercings and that, well, I guess not tattoos, but piercings, like that, even as you get closer and closer, and then now as an adult, I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me. Nikki's got a million of them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I don't even notice. I don't even pay attention to it.
I don't know either.
What else do we got?
She had a bunch of good ones. She said like the designer notebook / pencil cases. Those are good. The good ones. She said also allowed. This is another girl one. Being allowed to wear some makeup.
Dang.
Like that's wild. These are things that I would never have thought of.
Yeah.
Like being allowed to wear some makeup. I didn't like. If you would ask me at what age do girls start wearing makeup, I would have no idea.
Yeah, no,
I wouldn't have an idea in my mind.
Yeah, I have no clue either. I mean, I can think of ages that I probably would be like, well, that seems young.
Yeah.
Like if you told me,
I don't even know what age that would be for me.
No,
personally.
I know like 8 years old feels young.
I don't know.
But like 16, they're probably wearing it.
They're for sure wearing it.
Probably.
In middle school, they're wearing it. I think.
So like 12?
I think she's talking elementary school.
She said middle school.
Yeah, if you're allowed to wear something like early middle school, probably.
It does remind me of one though, and that is, and this is for boys and girls, is if you were allowed to drink coffee.
The coffee drinkers.
Yeah, especially if you got like if you were always seen with Starbucks when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
If you were like 13 and you had Starbucks all the time, it's like, dang, they're grown up.
That's an adult.
Yeah,
practically. That kid's old.
How
about what about this one? Just having cool shoes.
Oh, shoes were huge.
Shoes, like especially when I was in middle school. Like I was wearing basketball shoes to school because I wanted to have the coolest shoes possible. Which is wild because now I would never purchase a pair of basketball shoes. Like, that would never even cross my mind.
Yeah, you don't just wear them all around.
You would never just wear basketball shoes out and about. That's crazy. But when I was in like middle school, it was basketball shoes all the time. That's all I wore. The coolest shoes I could find. Yeah. And I never had the coolest ones.
What about, this is an obvious one, but being able to drive.
That's huge.
Yeah, when you were the first one that could drive.
That was me.
Especially if you had your own car. All the other kids are jealous.
So jealous.
All the other 16-year-olds super jealous that you went ahead and did it. How
about this one? I got another good one. Ready?
All right.
What about just having a cast? If you were that kid at school,
you're right,
that had a cast.
I was trying to break bones, and I was
just so they could sign
10
it.
Years old.
Just so you could sign it. Like if you came to school, talk about like a lady killer.
Yeah.
If you were a guy that came to school and you had a cast, all the girls wanted to sign your cast.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I've never broken a bone. I've never had a cast. But when I was in 4th or 5th grade, I would have killed for a lime green cast. I mean, there was always a wild color.
Yeah.
You get to carry on the Sharpie. Everybody, it's like an event. I got hurt. Everybody, I got hurt. Like, that's ridiculous.
And then
never got
you
one.
get all excited if, oh, look, Brittany, she signed it with a heart.
There's a heart on there.
Says, get well soon.
How'd you wheel that one in there? By having a cast. By being clumsy and falling down.
She writes that on every cast.
But if you had a cast, you were like 3 points hotter when you were young. Like, that's ridiculous. Everybody wanted a cast. Wild.
We've really grown up a lot, haven't we?
I'd still take a cast.
8772
Be
Radio
a great
U.
intro.
If you've got something that made you cool as a kid and not as an adult.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Good question going on. This is courtesy of Rohan that texted in and said, what are some things that made you cool as a kid, but as an adult don't really make you seem cool all that much? We've gotten a lot of great answers, and we've gotten even more that we haven't gotten to yet. So text yours in at 8772 Radio U. But I did want to point out, Arthur said that he had a moped when he was growing up.
Any kind of scooter thing made you cool.
I know growing up in the country that I was super jealous of any kid that had a dirt bike or four-wheeler.
That was me.
Those were huge.
It was huge.
And
but
then
I lived like so far out in the country that nobody knew I had it. I had nowhere to take it. Nobody saw me riding it, which was a darn shame. That's why I was never cool, because they had no idea that I was so cool.
You didn't tell it? Like, word didn't get out
I talked about
school?
it, but like until you see it.
Yeah, nobody believed you.
They didn't believe.
Yeah.
I told them I was riding. They didn't believe it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the worst was I had one friend. He had a four-wheeler, went to his birthday party, and then he was taking each and every girl for a ride on the four-wheeler. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, and you're just hanging out by the food. Like you're just hanging out there. You're not allowed to drive the thing.
It's not just that he was taking all the girls.
What are you gonna do? Hop on the back and hold on to him? Like you're gonna be that guy?
I want to ride too, but I'm not gonna step on your toes here.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a tough one.
You just stay on the ground.
What about drinking a lot of Mountain Dew?
That was a cool thing.
Yeah.
Or just having a lot of pop at your house. If you had a house with a lot of snacks, made you cooler.
Yeah, that's for sure. A good text in from, is it Andrew, who said, having the biggest super soaker.
Mm-hmm.
Super soakers were huge.
If you went to like the summer pool party, and you got to show up with your squirt gun, of course.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good one, you look lame.
Yeah, you do. And then that got progressively, as I grew up, you graduated. First, like super soakers were cool. Then Nerf guns were cool.
Then
airsoft and paintball was cool. Yep. And every single step of the way, I was jealous of the kids that had better guns.
I never did.
I never had the best one.
Me either.
But I did have a friend that had a hookup. So
there you go.
At least I could borrow his second best gun. And then Arrow said when he was growing up, that being the best at playing, being the best at Halo in your friend group. Which to me, like even just,
that's cool to your friends.
Yeah. To me, for a while, I didn't have any video games, or I didn't have the new video games.
If you had new video games, that was cool.
So I feel like now every kid growing up, like they don't know what it was like. They all have Xboxes and Switches and whatever. And they can just play games on their phone too. When I was growing up, not everybody had.
The first time like somebody had like a Wii or something, when like that came out, that was wild. The first time like the PlayStation 4 came out, that was wild. I liked the one that Jamie texted in. She said, when you had money for the book fair.
Ooh.
When you got to go to the book fair and you had a couple dollars that you were spending and you could pick out whatever you want, you get some erasers in your hand. That's a good one as well.
Yeah, that's another homeschooler one that I don't.
Oh, the book fair was cool.
Well, everybody had money for the book fair.
The other one too, this is one that I thought of.
Yeah.
Is like when you went to school and you had like the 100 crayon box. You didn't have like just the 8-piece. If you had that 100 box that had like a million different colors in it, that made you cool for whatever reason. You would never use all those colors, but if you had that, like the variety of all that, all the different choices, then you were cool.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. You could just, any color you needed. Yeah, you had it.
That was a good one. And then my last one was, if you got to go to the mall, no parents.
Oh.
You're there with your friends.
Yeah.
That made you cool.
That's when you were cool.
If you were hanging out at the mall, walking around with your buddies, that made you cool.
The last one I thought of was, and this is I was a little grown up by this time, but hoverboards, when that was out, I can only imagine the word around school would be like, do you see, like, we got to go to Jimmy's.
He's got a hoverboard.
His parents got him a hoverboard.
Yeah, I bet for the kids that like they were like in like 4th or 5th grade when hoverboards came out, I bet they were just begging their parents for that. They had to be.
Jamie also texted in when you could dye your hair.
Dyed
That's
hair.
true. I remember kids that had like.
Yep.
I'm sure it's bigger for girls, but even for guys that like they do their hair a crazy color.
Oh, if you got a mohawk.
The mohawk. When you put gel in your hair.
If you got a mohawk, that just meant that you were edgy and cool, and your parents just allowed you to do whatever you wanted.
Aaron, man, people are just coming in hot today. Aaron says when you had the pen one pen that could write in different colors.
Yep. What are those called? I remember the commercials for them. You could like twist them, and then sometimes it was like the markers that you could do 2 colors at once. You might have red and green in the same one. Then you flip over to green. That was cool too, Aaron.
This also jogged my memory, and this is the last one because we've talked for so long about how, being cool as a kid, but gel pens.
Gel pens, yeah.
Gel pens were big.
If you had anything cool at school that was like some sort of accessory that made you cool.
It definitely did. Well, this is a good conversation. 8772 RadioU if you've got any more. And thanks to
I was not cool.
No.
I just, after reading all these, I was not cool at all. This is crazy.
Yeah, that's it's, and you still aren't. It's
Hudson, Nikki, The Riot on Radio U.
Now, have you seen this trend going around on TikTok, Isaiah? The hair theory.
I have seen this trend.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So if for the uninitiated, if you haven't stumbled upon this on TikTok, the hair theory is primarily among women the idea that changing your hair completely changes who you are. It changes how people see you. Just a simple thing of parting it differently, curly versus straight, having it up versus down, all this stuff. Just small, really, in the scheme of things, they're small things.
Small little things, but I've talked about this before. Like in my previous months before this hair theory thing came, I said depending on like what your hair is like, people are going to treat you differently because of it.
You've said that?
I've said that. I've said it.
So you developed the hair
You could
theory.
say that I came up with it.
I feel like hairdressers probably. Like salon people probably have been saying this for a long time.
For years.
And I don't know if we all bought in, but now.
Oh, I'm bought in. I believe in this 100%.
You think it's true? Wait, you think people will treat you differently, though?
I think people will treat you differently depending on what your hair is like. Or how you do your hair. If you dye your hair, how you get your hair cut, how you're wearing it. Depending on how you wear your hair, people will look and think of you differently.
Give me an example.
I'll give you one of you, right?
Okay.
So people look at you, and you've got that long flow going, right?
Yeah.
And
got luscious locks.
And they look at you, and the first thing they think, country. They do. The first thing they think is country. But though? if you had a fade like mine, and you wore your hair just like mine, nobody would think you're country. I think the frequency of you getting country comments would go down drastically.
But
if you had a fade like mine.
You think that's just primarily because of my hair and not the rest of my look?
I think there's the rest of your look has to do with it too. But I think that if you had a fade like I do, then you would get a lot less country comments. You might still get some, but I think the frequency would be lower.
I'll have to think about that.
I think it's for sure accurate.
I mean, but maybe I like the country comments.
I you know what? And that's good. I'm just saying. I think that's a part of your look. Your hair goes into it.
I don't want to make this all about me.
Let's not talk about you anymore. That's enough about you. Oh, here we go.
Here I go. I think that looking country, but not really truly being country, allows me to have my foot in both camps.
Mm-hmm.
I can go into and hang out with some rednecks, and at least for some time, have a little bit of respect among them. Until they realize that I don't fit in, and vice versa. I can be, but I guess it does make it harder for me to walk into more prestigious, upscale places where I belong and where I could discuss Oscar movies and stuff like that with like-minded people. But they see me as a country bumpkin, and so it makes it more difficult for me to enter in.
And we've talked about before how, based off looking at me, no one's gonna say that I'm country.
No.
Nobody would.
Even if they see you pulling up in your truck.
Even if I put up in my truck, and if I, I think this is also not just a hair thing, but my hair goes into that as well, because I always have my hair like kind of faded up with a pretty typical hairstyle, definitely not a country haircut whatsoever. I always look pretty put together, so I don't ever look country, I would say, but I would say that I have some country tendencies.
Yeah.
But here's another thing,
too. But if you had just a mustache and longer hair,
then I might look country.
If you started to look a little more like Joe Dirt with just a simple change. You didn't even have to change your wardrobe. You just change your hair and your facial hair.
It would make a difference.
Yeah.
And I think for girls, I think it's the most prevalent in women, especially girls who dye their hair. I think girls who dye their hair get treated differently based on what color they dye their hair.
You think so?
I'm very, very believe that.
So blondes get treated differently than brunettes, even if they, other than that, they look exactly the same.
I wouldn't say that it's that as much, but I think that if you dye your hair like a color, like other than like blonde, red, or brunette, if you're doing a color,
if you go blue.
If you did blue or green, I think people are going to see you as maybe a little bit edgier, thinking of you and looking at you a little bit differently. I think
either edgy or artsy.
Yes, edgy or artsy. I think that if you have pink hair, I might look at you and think right away that you might be able to draw.
So you buy in the hair theory. You fully subscribe.
I fully believe it. I think it's 100% accurate.
I don't know. I don't know if I buy it fully based. I don't know if I buy it fully based off of the TikTok examples because it'll just be like a gal and she shows it from
She's like, people like me better like this.
But other than that, she looks exactly the same. To me, it doesn't change my opinion that much. But I see what you're saying though. You're winning me over a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The words too expensive aren't in Nikki's vocabulary. This is the Riot Radio U.
And check this out. Taco Bell. They want your input on deciding which item they should add to their menu. They're leaving it up to the people. They've got a couple of menu items that used to be available at Taco Bell, but no longer. That for one of these items is all about to change. You ready to hear your options?
I'm ready.
You could either bring back the Cool Ranch Doritos Locos Tacos.
Okay.
Or you could bring back the Fritos Flamin' Hot Beefy Crunch Burrito. You got a preference?
Cool Ranch it is for me.
You're going the Cool Ranch Doritos Locos Tacos. Would you say you would order either one of those if they
probably
were back
not. I probably wouldn't. So don't take my vote.
I'm with you on that. I would vote for the Fritos Beefy Crunch Burrito, but I'm not going to go ahead and probably order that. Now, you can start voting today. If you're a Taco Bell Rewards member, you can vote every single day in the Taco Bell app through April 12th. And then the winner will be announced on April 13th. And then it will be available late this year is when they will actually get that rolling for everyone. So that's one of those two. If you really love the Cool Ranch Doritos Locos Tacos or Beefy Crunch Flamin' Hot Fritos Burrito, one of those is coming back to Taco Bell. But it did get me thinking, if you could bring back any food item that hasn't been made for a while, what would it be? You can text in at 8772 Radio U, some kind of food item that you miss, you wish they would start making again. Isaiah, any come to mind for you?
I've got a bunch of good ones. Do you want me to say them now or do you want me to wait?
Well, give me a couple.
The first one that comes to mind. Oh, I've got some good ones. The first one that comes to mind, this one comes and it goes. I just wanted to stay. I don't even know right now if it is available or not, but I've been a fan of these since I was little. That is Wendy's Spicy Chicken Nuggets.
Those are available.
They're available right now.
You can walk into any Wendy's right now and they will give them to you.
Well, I'm glad that they're back then, but they have came and they have went, and I'm glad that they have made a return. I want them available all the time.
You're not that glad because you
I haven't had Wendy's in a while.
You're the reason why they went away.
It's not me. It's not my fault.
It is.
Are you sure they're back?
I promise you because I got them on Sunday.
Oh, so they're pretty good.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, you do.
You
do.
Every time I'm at Wendy's, I get them pretty much.
Yeah, so I want those to be here for good. The next one, also Wendy's.
Yeah.
Their old barbecue sauce.
Old barbecue. I've heard that Wendy's changed the recipe on the sauces.
They did. And this one is more of like it's hard to describe the new one that they have. It's a little bit sweeter, and the sauce is a little bit slimier, if that makes any sense. That's not the same. And so the old barbecue sauce was a hearty sauce. It was just like an American hearty Wendy's sauce. This new one's, it's just a little bit.
It's just not the same.
It's a little bit soft for me. It's a little bit too sweet, a little bit too cute. I like the hearty old Wendy's barbecue sauce. That was one of my favorite sauces. They got rid of it. It went so well with the chicken nuggets, all their burgers. It was very good. It is gone. I want them to bring it back. I've been saying that for months now, like over a year. I've been wanting this old barbecue sauce. It's ridiculous.
All right. Well, I'm getting some texts in here, and I've got a few of my own. But you can text in 8772 Radio U and let me know what is a fast food item or just any food item that's not made anymore that you wish they would bring back, because Taco Bell is doing that very thing. 8772 Radio U.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The worst of the riot. Radio U.
The question is, what is a discontinued food that you would bring back? And we brought it up because Taco Bell giving you the option to vote if you're a rewards member, whether they should bring back the Cool Ranch Doritos Locos Tacos or the Beefy Crunch Burrito with Flamin' Hot Fritos in it. Isaiah's answer was Wendy's Spicy Chicken Nuggets.
That wasn't my main one.
Which, of course, are available and have been for about 3 years. But you also said Wendy's Old Barbecue Sauce. I got a text in here from Gary who says, in regards to Taco Bell, he doesn't want either of the options they are giving you, but what he does want is the double-decker tacos and the spicy chicken quesaritos.
Ooh. Taco Bell has so many old things. I can't even keep up with it.
They're constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a grocery store.
Yet it's always
where
the
they
same.
Rearrange the aisles. You're right. It is always the same. What about... This is not fast food that I know of. This is from Snow, who says Yogo Bits.
I am familiar with Yogo Bits.
I don't have any fond memories of those.
I wasn't a huge fan, but it was another thing. That was another thing that made you cool at school if you had those. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Well, they're so colorful.
Yeah, they are.
I'm looking at them here. I don't know if I ever ate them, but I'm sure they were fine. One of the ones I thought of, talking about Wendy's, is they used to have chicken tenders. In fact, almost every fast food restaurant had chicken tenders.
McDonald's used to have them too.
They did, the chicken selects, and they don't anymore. Now, can I say with certainty that if the chicken tenders were back on the menu at Wendy's, would I order them over burgers? It's a tough call, but I wish it was an option. Another one from KFC. A lot of people would say the Double Down until they just brought that back as well. But KFC not that long ago used to have potato wedges.
Really? I didn't know that.
They did, and they replaced them with fries. And I know a lot of people, including my wife, really miss the potato wedges at KFC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got any more?
I have one. This is one of the all-timers. This is an all-time fast food appetizer type side for me.
Okay.
Like my entire high school career, my friends and I would always get these. This is at Burger King. And this is their mac and Cheetos.
Mac and Cheetos. That's right.
Their mac and Cheetos were so good. They're so good. Like that was a top one. They had flaming hot mac and Cheetos. They had regular mac and Cheetos, and now we have no mac and Cheetos. And I wish that Burger King would bring them back because they were so good.
I remember when those came out, and you might kill me for this. I'll be crucified, but I didn't think they were that good.
See, we loved them. Maybe it was just the Burger King in my hometown. One of my friends, my roommate actually, Andrew, he worked at Burger King when we were in high school. And so I would just go through, and he would always just hook us up with mac and Cheetos. Like, that was our thing. We would always get them whenever we were hanging out at my friend's house. It was mac and Cheetos. We ate them all the time.
William texted in. He says he misses the Taco Bell empanada. I don't know what that's in reference, because they still do the caramel apple one, I believe. Maybe not like the dessert one. Mm-hmm. But is he talking about like an actual empanada that was on the menu? Because that sounds... I love empanadas.
What about this one?
Okay.
This is a little bit of a change of pace.
Yeah.
What do you think about bringing back the original 4 for $4?
Well, I mean, how could you argue with that? Because it's just...
It's just $6.
It just makes...
Instead.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the same thing, just $6 instead of $4.
Yeah, I sure do wish. If we could just bring back old fast food
What about
prices.
the $5 footlong? That'd be a great thing to bring back. If they ever even had that, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's been so long. What about, I got a text in here from Judah who says, do you remember the McDonald's CBO? That stood for cheddar, bacon, onion.
I don't.
Good? Sound good to you?
Sounds good.
I used to love those. And then that jogged my memory for another one from McDonald's. They used to have a Southern style chicken sandwich. It was a chicken sandwich that just had a pickle on it, basically Chick-fil-A style. I would definitely take that back.
Bring that one back?
Yeah.
I'm with it.
Yeah, we got a bunch of fast food things we'd love to have back. If you've got one, 8772 RadioU. And they may not bring back what you want, but Taco Bell will at least bring back either the Beefy Crunch Burrito or the Cool Ranch Doritos Locos Tacos.
That's enough of that. For more Riot content, head to riot.radiou.com.